For the ladies present today,
here we go.
Congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives. I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Her vocation.
I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
What a speech, man. And this is controversial, apparently.
Yeah. He's evil.
She's the primary educator to our children. She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father. She's the person that knows me best at my core, and it is through our marriage that, Lord willing, we will both attain salvation. I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand, how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life. Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no.
Okay, so you listen to this. People go absolutely bonkers over this, Rob. Rob, can you just pull up what Michelle Beadle, former ESPN host, says reacting to this speech? Go for it.
As a woman, I think everything he said was garbage. I think when you hide hateful thoughts and feelings and bigotry behind the quote-unquote cloak of religion, I tend to roll my eyes and stop listening. But I think the fact that there were women in that audience that were not okay. I mean, granted, there were some that clearly were, but there were also some that weren't, who have come out since and been like, what the hell, dude? We just worked our asses off for years. And you're going to come in here and tell us that's all cute and stuff, but what you're really going to want to do is get married and have babies. Then you'll feel important. Like, go fuck yourself.
And I can't believe people thought we would get political on this one.
And by the way, it's also my freedom of speech to say, go fuck yourself, Harrison Butker. That's my freedom. I can do that. I'm not going to lose my job, and he should also have the right.
No, for good, and that's called freedom of speech, and we have no problem with that.
Is she single? Is she single? That's the type of girl that I want.
I'm looking at, can you see how many kids does Michelle Beadle have? She is 48 years old, born on October 23rd, same year. She is 5 days younger, 1975. I'm 78. How many kids does Michelle Beadle have? Can you check? How many kids does Michelle Beadle have? I'm curious. If you go to her Instagram account, do you see any pictures of kids? No pictures of kids. Okay. Is she married? Is Michelle Beadle married?
If she is, I know exactly what he looks like.
Michelle Beadle.
I know exactly what he would look like.
Has she ever? But I'm actually really curious because Michelle Beadle is currently single.
No shit.
Has been single. She was in a relationship with a guy from 25. So I'm just curious to know if she's married with kids. Okay. Because there's a reason why you process it that way. When you look out at 48 years old, you're like, the hell with this guy. I made a decision to marry my career. Now, if she's got, she's married and she's got kids, good for her. But that's a different position she takes. Now, Rob, can you do me a favor before we get into commentary here? Pull up what Patrick Mahomes said and what his coach, Andy Reid, said. Matter of fact, go to Andy Reid first. I don't know why. I think he's more appropriate to go to first than Mahomes. Okay, go for it. Go ahead.
I didn't talk to him about this. Didn't think we need to. We're a microcosm of life here. Everybody from different areas, different religions, different races, and so we all get along. We all respect each other's opinions, and not necessarily do we go by those, but we respect everybody to have a voice. It's a great thing about America, man, and we're just, like I said, a microcosm of that. And I wish, my wish is that everybody could kind of follow that. So, yeah.
With so many women just on staff here and in the building, his comments kind of touched on women in the workforce. What do you tell them if they come to you with a concern about players speaking ill of, women in general?
Yeah, that hasn't happened. I don't think he was speaking ill to women, but he has his opinions, and we all respect that. I let you guys in this room, and you have a lot of opinions that I don't like.
What did Mahomes say, by the way? I don't know what Mahomes said. Did Mahomes say anything, or?
Harrison, I've known him for 7 years, and I judge him by the character that he shows every single day, and that's a good person. That's someone who cares about the people around him, cares about his family, and wants to make a good impact in society. When you're in the locker room, there's a lot of people from a lot of different areas of life, and they have a lot of different views on everything, and we're not always going to agree, but and there's certain things that he said that I don't necessarily agree with, but I understand the person that he is, and he's trying to do whatever he can to lead people in the right direction. And that might not be the same values as I have, but at the same time, I'm going to judge him by the character that he shows every single day. That's a great person, and we'll continue to move along and try to help build each other up to make ourselves better every single day.
You can pause it. Dan, thoughts on the story?
So this story's been kind of at the forefront of my mind for at least a few days now. I've been thinking this through, and it speaks to one specific thing about the modern left. When you forget all this stuff, all that matters is the response, is the why. Why did they respond the way they did? Because the left is very tactical. They don't just haphazardly find a reason to freak out. They do it because they see a tactical end. Look at what happened with BLM and Antifa. Everything they do for a reason. So why did this particular speech, a very benign speech about how there's a valuable role as being a mom, if you gave the same speech about fathers, I don't think anyone would say anything. There was nothing about the speech that was particularly even like aggressive. It was just a kind of a normal speech about parents in the home. The first thing is the left hates, because they're inherently collectivists and socialists, they hate any objective truth, because the whole idea of the socialism they subscribe to is the idea of subjective truth, that the government should be able to treat people differently based on the government, from each according to their ability to each according to their needs, okay? So anytime you see the left attacking something, an objective truth, men are men, women are women, or a competing source of values, family, church. Do you notice these are things they all hate? There's no. Why would the left hate the church? There's no good. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't compete for them in specific spaces. Some Catholic church leaders are all in on the environmental stuff and the immigration stuff. So why do they hate them? They hate them because it's a competing source of values, and the left can only have your values come from government. If once that's defeated, there is no path for socialism or collectivism. That's number one. That's why this bothered them. Anything with the family, the left will start peeing their diapers immediately. But the second part of this that irks them is the left's worldview, in contrast to ours, is so fragile. Aaron McIntyre made this brilliant point that it requires an extraordinary amount of energy to people to believe the left's bullshit. 20 years ago, if you were to say in a Democrat debate, is a man or a woman, they would laugh you. They'd be like, this is a Democrat debate. What kind of stupid question is that? Now this is considered you're insane if you bring up otherwise. Why? It takes a lot of energy. So what the left is worrying about is this went viral. Normal people, i.e. not crazy leftists, listen to that one. Yeah, it makes sense, man. Having a mom in the home, it's probably a pretty good idea. Dad too. And they freaked out because they spent 10 years telling you, you don't need a mom, you don't need a dad. I went up to Capitol Hill once when the George Floyd thing happened. I was talking as a police officer, law enforcement. I'll never forget this. I brought up at one point, I'm like, folks, listen, man, all of this comes down to the home. You look at a strict correlation, dad in the home and crime, numbers are absolutely conclusive. Just put it on a damn spreadsheet. A lefty guy on a panel, you can probably see it on C-SPAN still. This guy lost his mind. He spent his whole 3 minutes attacking me. They spend an extraordinary amount of energy keeping their fragile worldview alive, and this thing broke through, and it ticked them off. It's so predictable.
Tom.
I think there's I agree with what you just said, and I'll add this to it. When I saw people rallying up here, and I saw the voices that mainstream media was bringing forth, like her, it said to me, wow, this is a election year issue, and they need to activate this voting group called Angry White Women in the Suburbs. So they cannot allow a simple truth. Because I said to myself, this guy's just speaking a simple truth, that you can have a lot of fulfillment about being a mom and about raising things. And by the way, that doesn't mean you're locked in your home. You're probably volunteering at school. You're probably helping other people with their kids. There's a tremendous amount of fulfillment if you choose that. And so there's a simple truth in there that creates this dramatic contrast, and they can't have that. To your exact point, because they need that block. Without the angry white women in the suburbs right now, this election is over. I think it's over already. I think it's heading to over. I think it's going over the waterfall. We're seeing what's happening in all the electoral states. We've gone from 7 battleground states to 4 battleground states. It's happening. And I think the left lost their mind because a simple truth sometimes shines brightest and becomes most compelling to people that think about it. And they can't have that for all the reasons you mentioned.
And just think about the hypocrisy. Here she is talking about, hey, women, you should be able to hell F that guy. You know what I mean? Be on your own. You don't need him. Do your career. And I guarantee you that same feminist attitude when it comes to grown men with testicles changing in locker rooms with girls and competing in women's sports, she's not a peep out of somebody like that. It's hypocrisy at the highest point. And by the way, nobody would have seen that speech. Me, you, nobody in here, nobody at home would have even known that speech existed. The left had to take it and go, hey guys, look, God and the nuclear family, we don't want nothing to do with that shit. Get rid of it. And that's exactly the point that you were making. It's hypocrisy. It's stupid. It's taking energy, and it's just, I'm happy that these horrible ideas are getting exposed. But I love it.
But by the way, this is the thing. Like the reaction to Michelle Beadle's reaction. I actually really liked it. I don't know what happened to her. She used to have something with calling. Anyway, she was actually a good commentator to listen to. But okay, so she says, hey, Harrison, go F yourself, whatever. Fine, no problem. But there's a deeper issue here, guys. When you make a decision, a guy menaced me this morning on the way here, and his menact, I won't say his name, but I'll read it to you because it's so heartfelt. And I'm reading it like truly heartfelt, right? He says, I'm a successful financial advisor. He moved to, I won't give the details. I'll just get to where he's at now. I'm 40 years old, making good headway, making good money. My wife and I have gone through 3 rounds of IVF, and they've all been unsuccessful. I don't think we'll go down this path again. It's tough. I don't know what to do now. The drive and passion to be a successful person seems to have no meaning without children. If there is no one to pass knowledge, money, etc. on to, I could retire in a few years and sit on a beach, go work for someone or anyone else I respect for free just to be part of something bigger than myself or do charity work. I'm not sure that any of those solutions are right. That's going to drive me. He says, what do you think I should do, right? How many stories do we know of people that, been together for 10, 15 years that can't have kids? So many of them, right? You keep hearing these stories. But there's something beautiful about making a decision to live for somebody else. Wife, kids, family. I got 4 of them. There's nothing like it. I saw the special you guys did 3 years ago with you and your wife sitting next to each other. I don't know why I remember. Valentine's Day. It was a phenomenal special. You're interviewing.
She was so nervous about that too. And she stole the show.
Yeah, it was actually great seeing what her position was, right? Because the market knows you and they don't know a lot about her because she's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But when you see something like this and other people's reaction, 48 years old, apparently not married, never been married, no kids. She has to defend that position.
Of course.
Because now maybe we don't have the whole story, just like we didn't know the story for that girl that was going back and forth with Adam. What was her name? The actress, the comedian.
Chelsea Handler.
Chelsea Handler. And then later on you realize when she was a kid, her best friend, who was her older brother, left, falls, dies, changes her family, loses everything, like they can't even handle themselves. For the rest of her life, she's afraid of losing somebody. Now, there may be a story behind this here. But man,
I think you hit it though hard there. You hit it in the beginning when you pointed about the anger. Like, why are you so angry? Like, I'm not mad at you.
Yeah.
I honest to God, like you're a single 40-year-old woman who's successful. Like,
respect.
I'm dead serious. I don't virtue signal for shit. I'm like, great. You made decisions. I made different ones.
Yeah.
I am not. I'm happy for you. Maybe that worked out great. But I'm gonna take the woman out of it for a minute because the lefties always like, they want to paint every Republican as misogynist. I got a friend, same thing, Secret Service agent, obviously shall remain nameless, but this guy was like, great guy, we were good friends, like a mega player, like just good looking guy, tall guy, basketball player, super smart. Lived in all like the hot areas. And when you're a Secret Service agent, the joke is like it's the closest thing to being famous without anyone knowing who you are, because you're hanging with all these rich people and stuff, and you make a lot of contacts. He had this medical incident not that long ago, and he told me the story. And I don't know how old he is now, 45 or whatever. He's a little younger than me, and no kids, again, never married. And he's like, you know what? No one came to see me in the hospital, man. And he's like, I started to realize, like, now he's getting married. And he's like, it's time for me to change. And I'll tell you, man, I know you just said it about kids, but my daughter came home from college, and I'm gonna get goosebumps talking about it now. And my wife and I date my wife. Like, my wife's not my wife, she's my girlfriend. And people say, oh, you get all offended. I don't really care. I'm not really interested. Like, my wife's my girl, she's not my wife. Like, we're married, but I never looked at her that way because it's got such people have this connotation like, oh, you're going to be sitting there in a moo-moo and the husband's going to be, we still date. We date like we first met. Me and my wife were in the Hard Rock last week partying like 2:20. Yeah, man, I woke up the next day. I think I need an IV. Like, I tell my audience, like, don't look to me for no morals, man, because I ain't your dude. Like, I'm like a party guy. I go crazy with my wife. Yeah. Like, we have a good time. But Friday night, my wife and I had a couple drinks. It was no big deal. But she was drinking some wine. I was drinking some Casa Dragones or something. And we love Morgan Wallen. So we put it on, and my kids come out. And my two kids are sitting there, man, and we're just singing with my kids. Like, I can't sing for nothing. My wife can't either. But my daughter's looking at the words on, like, the Spotify thing because we're taking her to a concert. And was it anything special? Was there a celebrity there with a big? No, it was my living room. I'm going to tell you something, man. I woke up the next day. I said to my wife, I'm like, we are like the luckiest people on earth. I said, that if there's a God, which I believe there is,
1,000%. I
said, that feeling, that's not a simulation. Like, whatever's in my head, rabbits don't feel that, dogs don't feel that. Was just, I woke up the next day like, that was just special. My youngest daughter, my oldest were just sitting there like dancing. Like, I can't dance. I'm a white guy, man. I got hips like a fire hydrant. They don't move. But we're all like laughing. That's the kind of stuff, brother. There's no amount of money in the world you can pay to make that up if you're 80 and you've never experienced that.
And you know, it's crazy. Like when I'm with Bill Maher and we had the exchange, and I said, so, well, why do you have kids? And I said, what's the point of life? I said, oh, give me a break with this point of life shit, right? And you see this. Now, I'm telling you, some people like this guy, they can't. They wish they could. It's not intentional. It's what happened. But some people fully marry their career. And now they're realizing you can't lay in bed with your career at 60 years old saying, honey, tell me about your day. Your career's not going to say.
I watched that interview. Yeah. And I tell you, the fact that that's a real question. You ever see Children of Men with Clive Owen? Nobody can have kids anymore. It's basically a dystopian movie where no one can have kids anymore. And you watch the movie. If you don't want to have, I encourage you to watch that because you realize, like, if there really is no point and no one can procreate, why would anyone do anything?
Yeah.
They're all at the end of their lives that no one can have kids. They find this one woman who can have a baby.
One girl that's pregnant.
And she changes everything.
Yeah.
Because everybody's like, wait, why are we building a new factory? So, like, that's a real question. Like, the fact that a guy as smart as Bill Maher.
Have you seen that, people?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, my God. Children of Men.
Are you
And there's going to be no
me?
customers, so why are we doing this?
It's funny. I said dystopia. They use the exact same word.
And by the way, I love it because what a fantastic recommendation because we always do this. Just the beginning 2 minutes of the movie. I don't want to give it away. You're going to be sucked in 2 seconds, bro.
Yeah, brother.
It's a sick movie.
Okay, guys.
If you don't want to have kids, anyone, watch that movie.
I'll watch it with
listen, I'm a sucker for great movies. We're watching this movie, no problem.
Clive Owen's amazing.
So, Harrison, wherever you are, you're an absolute stud of a guy, man. Good for you for giving a speech like that. So many people are grateful for a man to give that speech. Respect to you and respect to the Kansas City Chiefs organization for whether you agree with him or not. You back him up. He doesn't get fired. Nothing happens to his career. Good for you guys for the decision you guys made as an organization. All the pressures didn't do nothing for you. Still hasn't done. Maybe if you guys decide tomorrow, you will get criticism. But as of right now, good for you guys for not making any major decisions with this guy here. Now, Rob, can you do me a favor, Rob? So May 31st, next week, Friday night, lights, Dave Smith against Chris Cuomo. Holy moly. This event will be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The VIP sold out. I think we got a few. The second tier general, there's a couple left as well. If you're wanting to come, some interesting guests are coming on because they want to see this live, period. There's going to be some fireworks, but at the same time, the fact that they're talking, it's going to be exciting. I think even Dave yesterday with Rogan, they were talking about this thing coming up on a recent podcast Dave did with Chris. And Chris recently interviewed, who was it? The CDC, Vinny, who was the person that Chris had on that we played a clip. So even Chris is going deeper into it to expose some of the challenges from the COVID community, and that's gone viral. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen there. For some of you guys that haven't yet, Rob, if you can go back to the QR code for people that want to get registered, go to the QR code to get your tickets. Next Friday night, all of us are going to be there, May 31st. And at the same time, you can go to 5990live.com for the people that are listening on Spotify and Apple, 5990live.com. Get your ticket. We'll see you there next Friday, May 31st, 6 to 9.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.